Okay, so this was a little bit different because the COVID affected tourism significantly. So we just want to keep that in mind as we're looking at this. So we looked at two visitation reports, April 2019 to 2020, looking at pre-COVID, and then March 2020 to present to capture post-COVID. So our goals here are to understand our top guests, target profitable guests post-COVID, and then finally personalize advertisements. And we have our 3 tools to do that. So first, let's look at Disney World's standard segmentation and the segmentation summary report. This is pre-COVID. And unsurprisingly, we see 13% come from upper suburban families and then rural high income, wealthy suburban families. So this might be what you would expect from Disney World's typical visitation. But we also want to see how that was affected by COVID. So what we did is we looked at the percentage change in visitation pre-COVID to post-COVID to indicate segments that might not be ready to travel right now and where we might not want to focus on. So what we found here is that their top segment actually increased as far as percentage visitation, but there are some patterns here with the segments that quit visiting as much. Young professionals, educated urbanites. There's a lot of very, very urban segments that quit visiting Disney World. There might be some more hesitancy there. You also have sunset boomers and a few of the older segments quit visiting Disney World as well. And then there's also a number of lower income segments that are probably financially impacted by COVID. But we can see that there's a group here that are ready to travel. And then lastly, Evelina indicated to me that one of the important parts in the tourism industry is understanding the distance traveled. So we can also begin to understand our segments by their median distance traveled. So here we have the segments ranked by their median distance traveled, and this is in miles. So we see educated urbanites. Although they're not a big percentage of our visitation to Disney World, they travel a lot further, and that's important. So combining all of these 3 things together, can we get a better sense of which guests are ready to travel and which could be very profitable for us moving forward? So here on the x-axis, you have readiness to travel indicated by their percentage change in visitation pre and post-COVID. On the y-axis, you have the average distance traveled. More distance traveled indicates potentially a more profitable customer because they might be staying longer in Disney World. And then the last thing, the bubble, is the historic percentage of visitors. So the bigger the bubble, the more historically those segments have visited Disney World. So here we can see the segments that are not ready to travel, but they go from a long distance. The segments that are ready to travel, but they don't travel quite as far of a distance to Disney World. And then we have sort of our sweet spot, L, B, and C, that these people travel a longer distance, and they're indicating that they are ready to travel because they're still traveling post-COVID to Disney World.